welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. You already know the face. It's Javon, and I'm here with MIZ, and this is another one-on-one with Javon. It's like a mini series where we get into the minds of our content creators for Chelsea. Obviously, I'm going to have other content creators on for other clubs, but this is a series where we get into the mind of the content creators and they tell us their journey. So, Miz, what go on, brother?
Yo. How you doing, Javon, man? Look, great to be here. It's been a while since we've been planning this. Finally, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Time difference is a madness, but
Mm-hmm.
where there is a will, there is a way, bro. So here we are, bro.
Yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way. So let's get right into it. Chelsea. I'm gonna just start there, just right to the thick of things. How did you start supporting Chelsea?
Do you know what? It's a strange one. It's not one of those fairy tale ones that some people might talk about. I actually didn't even know anything about club football up until I actually came to Australia. Like prior to Australia,
Mm-hmm.
I was in United Arab Emirates. I was in Abu Dhabi for 4 years. I left Bangladesh. So I'm from a Bangladeshi background, by the way, if people didn't
Mm-hmm.
know that. I left Bangladesh when I was 6. My dad had a job in Abu Dhabi, so we all went over there, stayed there. My dad's whole side was there, like his brothers, like 4 of his brothers, all my cousins. Um, so I had no idea about club football. Like we never talked about club football. In all honesty, it was cricket. Basically, was the first love.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was I
Mm-hmm.
was I was playing a lot of cricket. I was actually pretty good at cricket. And being from a subcontinental background as well, cricket's huge.
Mm-hmm.
But international football was also very, very big.
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch a lot of international football, and especially being in the Middle East. And even prior to that, when I was in Bangladesh, my first World Cup was Italia 1990.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I get that. Like, I'm a German supporter, basically, German national team supporter. You guys would have seen,
Mm-hmm.
some people would have seen during the Euros, how much I was following Germany and
Mm-hmm.
their progress. So I've been a massive Germany fan ever since. Italia 1990, if people know, Germany
Mm-hmm.
won that. I believe they used to be known as West Germany back then. Final was against Argentina,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I was in my dad's village, and that night I still remember there wasn't any electricity. We had to get electricity from our neighbor, get like some wires and get electricity. And I watched the final in black and white TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1990, so we didn't have. I mean, I'm sure there was color TV available, but we weren't wealthy enough to have a color TV. So I remember watching the final in black
Mm-hmm.
and white. And then, yeah, as I said, went to UAE, Abu Dhabi, lived there, and watched a lot of international football. It was big in the Middle East, so we used to get in the act of Middle Eastern football.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came to Sydney, Australia, and it was really around the 1998 World Cup, post the World Cup, France 1998, where France won. It was after that when I went to high school. Um, I was in high school in 1998,
Damn.
but it was after the World Cup where a lot of my friends they were watching club football,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no idea. Some of my friends used to follow AC Milan, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich,
Mm-hmm.
Manchester United, and I felt like I was getting left behind because all my mates were following clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And this one weekend, I still remember quite fondly. I turned on the TV and there's a channel called SBS here.
Mm-hmm.
And SBS had Premier League highlights. It wasn't even a live match. It was during the day,
Mm-hmm.
like it was highlights show. And it was Chelsea versus Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
Just happened to be Chelsea versus Newcastle, the highlights package.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I really like this team in blue.
Mm-hmm.
They capture my imagination.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, mind you, I was what, 12,
Mm-hmm.
13 ish, yeah, 12, 13, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it happened, Javon, man. Like, there's no fairy tale. There's no, I knew the history of Chelsea, this, that, the other. I knew nothing about club football. I
Mm-hmm.
turned the TV on, and it was Chelsea on against Newcastle. And then I was like, yeah, they'll be my team from here on in. But to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I wasn't like a hardcore fan at that moment. That was the moment where I just got
Mm-hmm.
introduced to Chelsea, and I liked the way they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being absolutely honest, it was probably when Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea is when I
So,
really clicked into gears. Prior to that, I was watching Chelsea, and I'd say to my that's I like watching Chelsea. That's my team.
mm-hmm.
I wasn't like religious about it because I was young.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It
Yep.
was when I started to grow up a little bit more, and then Roman ended up buying. And that's how the story really.
So can I classify you as pre-Roman era? Because a lot of these banter people want to say, "Oh, none of you guys are from the pre-Roman era. You guys don't know about winning trophies." Can I say Miz is from the pre-Roman era?
You can definitely say I'm from the pre-Roman era, but as I said, I don't think I religiously followed
Nah,
it.
nah, nah, nah. We classified you as pre-Roman. I don't know much pre-Roman era people, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to. The people that I know, I'm going to put them in that bucket. Okay,
Fair enough.
okay. Everyone's again. Everyone's story is different,
Yeah.
and it is very interesting. And like I said, it's good to know people that have watched Chelsea longer than I did.
Mm.
Um, my next question is, who did you resonate with? Because obviously you would be there when Roman just took over.
Yeah.
Which player did you resonate with the most that made you say, you know what, this is gonna be more than a sport for me?
Do you know what? Like at that time, I just I just liked the entire team. I remember I saw Zola, but that wasn't really Roman era time.
Mm-hmm.
That was pre-Roman. As I said, I wasn't like fully religiously following.
Mm-hmm.
Um, During Roman era, when I really started to connect deeply with the team, I'd have to say probably Frank Lampard. You know, like that.
Mm-hmm.
His presence is something that probably made me feel there's something that connects with the heart. Like he's the one that painted the picture for me that yeah, this team represents me not just from a sporting point of view, but from outside
Mm-hmm.
of sporting as well. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the personality of Frank Lampard when he played. Um, yeah, that created that sense of
Mm-hmm.
feeling that yeah, this is my team.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I can understand that. For me, it was Oscar and Baba. Well, Frank first, and then Oscar and Baba.
Mm. I do have to
When
say one thing though.
yeah,
Frank Lampard the player and Frank Lampard the manager, like that's we a lot of people might see this and go, but Miz, why do you dislike Frank Lampard the manager?
two different people, bro.
They're two different people. We do need to him the player was inspirational for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way he carried himself,
Mm-hmm.
that personality, that confidence, that always that drive and hunger to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that was inspirational for me outside of football.
Yep.
Whereas
And
Frank, the manager, that was not very much inspirational to me.
not at all. And you have to understand that Frank, the player, was a midfield general. He was the
Yeah.
go-to guy. He was the creator. He was the instigator. He would do everything. He would score goals. He would create chances. He could single-handedly turn a game on the top of his head.
Mm,
So to see not he didn't do bad in management for me as a new
mm,
manager when he was just coming through, but for some reason the wheels fell off, and well, we see what it is today. Okay, so take me back here. So you're
mm.
just getting into Chelsea. Roman Ibrahimovic took over, what were you like when the appointment of Jose Mourinho came through the door? Because at that time, Jose Mourinho was,
It was a
for
big
lack of a
deal.
better word, cocky. He was,
Yeah,
he came in and he was like, I'm the special one. He
yeah.
he played with the media. He manipulated the media like it was his own backyard. It was a show. So give me your experience with that.
Oh man, look, I got to see the first glimpse of Jose Mourinho in that Porto team.
Mm-hmm,
I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, like even for the people that are watching, I remember Claudio Ranieri was still the manager
mm-hmm,
before Jose, and Claudio Ranieri took us as far as maybe the quarterfinals or maybe the semifinals in that particular Champions League season where Porto ended up winning and Jose
mm-hmm,
beat Monaco, I believe,
mm-hmm,
in the final. I'm pretty sure it was Monaco. Yeah, Porto versus Monaco. And I felt, wow, this manager is charismatic. He plays good football. Um, no one really knew, like especially in Sydney, Australia. Back then, there was no social media. We have to remember, Javon. Like, I
mm-hmm.
wasn't on social media. Like, I didn't
Yeah,
have Twitter. I
you
didn't
was doing
have
nothing.
like I just had my mates at school. Like we'd talk
Mm-hmm.
about Champions League. So we wouldn't be doing watch alongs. Like people would watch their matches at home in
No
their own
MySpace, no nothing.
yeah, in their own crib, nice
Mm-hmm,
and snug in the inside like in the bed, got the TV on, you're watching Champions League.
mm-hmm,
Um and I remember we'd watch the game and then we'd go to school because it'd be in the morning for us
mm-hmm.
and we'd talk about it. So like there wasn't any social media hoo ha like hey
Mm-hmm,
let's talk about this press conference, let's talk about this
mm-hmm,
player, this like now social media doesn't let us disconnect. Now you talk about football non-stop. Back then you only talked about football at school
mm-hmm,
with your mates during lunchtime, during recess,
mm-hmm,
before school maybe, and after school, right?
mm-hmm.
So look, when he first got hired, I saw certain clips on TV, and back then, look, I wasn't very big on YouTube either. I don't even think YouTube was a huge thing at that point.
No man, at that time YouTube was just starting, so it wasn't
It was
even
just
a thing.
starting. So, whatever clips I'd get from TV, I'd be like, "Wow, this guy he's got some level of arrogance about himself,
Mm-hmm,
which is very charismatic. Like the arrogance is charismatic, and yeah, the way he was talking, the way he was calling, I am the special one,
mm-hmm,
winning the Champions League with Porto, coming to Chelsea with so much confidence, and whole heap of revolution that was happening at Chelsea at that time. Just a bunch of new players coming through, not the kind of new players we get now, like proper names back then coming through. Like, not, not now how we
some
didn't know.
world class talent coming through.
Yeah, not now how players come through and we have to Google like who's this who's this
Kelly
guy we
man,
bought who's
that
this
was
guy
me
we
and
bought.
Kelly man. It was me
But
and Kelly man.
back then no one needed to Google who we were getting. We
Mm-hmm,
knew who we were getting. We're like, oh holy crap, like this
mm-hmm,
is at a different scale, some of these players coming through.
mm-hmm,
So now man, look, it was different, Javon, back then. It was different. Like your emotions were just to yourself. You
mm-hmm.
couldn't tweet and retweet your emotions. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? You couldn't
Yeah.
do a video and post it and do a reaction. Oh, Jose Mourinho has been hired by Chelsea Football Club. MIZ reacts.
Yeah.
So um, it was different back then, but I was very very excited. I knew that this guy was going to do bits because the way he carried Porto, I was like,
Mhm.
with that quality now at Chelsea, the level of players coming through, whoo,
It was next level, next
it
level.
was
Okay.
going to be long. It was going to be long for everyone.
So you know what my next question is. Take me through the first time we won that Premier League title.
Oh
And
man,
remember, this was the first one, and I think it was against Manchester United, if I'm not
yes,
mistaken, where
yes.
we took it from them. Take me through that emotion, man.
But it was once again like
Delirium.
I wasn't on social media, so it was me just jumping up and down by myself at home. I remember I had a lot of like banter at school. Like I'd give it to my friends that were either Man United fans or Liverpool fans, um, and I'd be
Arsenal,
like, yeah,
because I think at
that's
the
one
time
on you
Arsenal was
guys,
good.
man, one on you
Yeah.
guys.
Mm-hmm.
And nah, man, it was amazing. It was, as I said, man, Chelsea Football Club during that period, bro, it defines who I am as a person. Like
Mm-hmm.
it that era was full of like not just excitement, but full of bravado, full
Mm-hmm.
of um hard,
Vim.
like just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. Like
I had a part of that era. I had that, and trust me, I know what you mean. It was
you know
full
what
of
I mean? Like
vim, full of vim. You
yeah,
had skill, you had power, you had
exactly.
all aspects of football.
All aspects of
Even
football.
even the tactical aspect started to come slowly in that era as well. It
Mm.
wasn't just kick a long ball and run down, or just one team be more physical. You had teams that outplayed teams in that era.
Look, I'll be honest. At that time, I was a lot. I was probably what, like 18, 19. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't too clued on, but like the 18, 19 year olds right now with whole heap of tactical analysis and the
Mm-hmm.
tacticos that they call themselves on social
Mm-hmm.
media, and they've got so many things available to themselves, tactical board and this that.
Mm-hmm.
Javon, at that time, I was just a pure fan. Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand too much about the tactical side of
Innocent.
things.
You were
Innocent.
innocent.
I didn't understand build up. I didn't understand, you know, creating a square in midfield and close proximity and overlapping fullbacks and false nine. I was just in love with the way the players would play. Hard
Mm-hmm.
football, getting stuck in. Um,
The skills on top of that
Skills,
too.
yeah, individual skills, dribble,
Mm-hmm.
pace, shoot,
Mm-hmm.
goal,
Mm-hmm.
save, like very basic level, but the excitement was
Next
high.
level.
Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
excitement was next level. Um,
Mm-hmm.
nah, man, like the first time we won with Jose, yeah, it was incredible. As I said, like that era defined me, man. As it's very difficult to put it into words.
Mm-hmm.
Bravado is probably something that I'd say that
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was like the attitude era. Like if I was to
Yeah.
say from a
Oh,
WWE
yep.
point of view, do you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like that
I,
those
I
bunch of players and that
that hits home.
manager, like attitude era, like it was all about. Like, I'm not gonna get bullied. I'm not gonna be pushed around.
Yeah,
But it
I'm
was
the man,
hardcore
and I'm gonna
football
show
as
you I'm
well.
the man.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
show you I'm the man, and that's how I carried myself as well. Sometimes outside, like by watching Chelsea the way they used to move, would
Mm-hmm.
would kind of move me that way in real life as well. I'd be a
Mm-hmm.
confident individual. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'd have that bravado. I'd have that
Mm-hmm.
attitude about myself as well. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So nah, man, it was brilliant, and I knew that was the start of so many more trophies to come, and it
Mm-hmm.
did. It did.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely understandable, man. Because growing up, getting the second half of the attitude era, and getting the second half of the that era you're talking about, especially with the Barclays Premier League and Chelsea,
Mm,
it grows on you and it kind of shapes you as a person, because there's certain intangibles that you take from those two things that just sticks with you for life. So my next question is, going in, having understand all of that, going into a period of dominance and where Chelsea was the name in the Premier League
mm.
for a while. How did that impact you, and how does it affect you after the fact, now that we're not so dominant?
Such a deep question, man. Like you go from a situation where you're so confident, you're so much in belief of your football club that as I said, it defines you outside of football as well. You
Mm-hmm.
resonate with the team by being that type of a person outside of football too.
Mm-hmm.
Very confident, self-confidence is high. You have certain level of arrogance about you, but it's not cocky arrogance. It's like the arrogance that sort of lets the other person know, yeah, all right, we see you, man, we see you.
Mm-hmm.
So going from that, where we were so dominant and watching matches, you just had a belief we can beat anyone. Like
Mm-hmm.
it didn't matter. You didn't go into matches thinking, oh my god, we're
We're
probably not
facing
gonna win.
Manchester
Yeah,
United because they
we're
were the
not
top
gonna.
dog at that
Yeah,
time.
we're not gonna win. But you'd face Arsenal, you'd face Man United at that time. Those were the two. Man United, obviously, the biggest at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal were very, very, very good as well during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you never felt scared. You cherished. You were waiting for those fixtures because all the other fixtures were Mickey Mouse fixtures.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, we'd slap them up, we'd beat them. Yeah,
beat them up, slap them up, everything. And if there was an odd result there, you'd be shocked. Like what happened? But you knew that's just maybe a one off, right? You move
yeah,
on,
yeah. And it was a one-off.
and it was a one off. Like I don't remember a time where there was like a plethora of just poor results up until um up until Jose Mourinho second time coming back, the third season where we came, I think, 10th.
10. Yeah.
Yeah. Before that, I don't think we ever
No, 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 no. We probably,
seen.
yeah, even when we didn't win the league, it's like we lost the league because we lost. We drew or lost to some of the teams that we shouldn't have. But it
Yeah,
wasn't anything major. It's not like last season when I was afraid of Aston Villa, when I'm afraid of West Ham, when I'm afraid of Wolves. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Back then, we're one of the big dogs. So it's either us, Manchester United, or Arsenal would win the league.
exactly,
I
exactly. So
understand.
I was never worried. Now, since the new
Everybody
ownership,
fear.
well, I don't recognize myself anymore, man. I
Yeah.
go into games against Bournemouth, and I don't know if I'm gonna win.
Bro. Brighton,
I,
fear.
I
Bournemouth,
didn't even know
fear.
who Bournemouth were back then. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even know there was a team called Bournemouth back then.
Yes, yes,
I didn't even
yes.
pay
True.
attention to teams below fifth. Like, for me, it was just another fixture. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Some of the games I wouldn't even watch if I'm being honest. I
I
wouldn't
I
even watch
I,
those games
I never watched
because I
them.
know it's an easy dub.
Yeah,
You
it's an
know.
easy dub. I'd wake up because back then I wasn't waking up in insane hours all the time to watch it
Mm,
because I'd have uni or this, that, the other. So sometimes I didn't even watch it. But now, bro, it's mad. Like everything that I grew up, that I fell in love with the football club, everything that I said that this club defined who I am,
mm-hmm.
bro. It doesn't define who I am anymore, man. Like I don't want to take any of their qualities in my life anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're fragile. I
Mm-hmm.
ain't no fragile human being. You're
Mm-hmm.
weak mentally at times. I ain't gonna be weak mentally. I can't afford to be weak
Mm-hmm.
mentally.
Yeah. Let me
So
ask.
now, Javon, it's sad. Like it's crazy that once upon a time, the Chelsea that I grew up with has really disintegrated.
Yeah.
Now I'm having to adjust to this new Chelsea, and it's interesting times, but at the same time, it's sad. But at the same time, it's interesting in the fact that I wonder where this is leading us. I wonder where
Yeah.
this is going. And
Yeah.
you just hope that if it does turn around, and I'm sure it will, one day it will turn around for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think this time around, Javon, when it does turn around, we might appreciate it a little bit more than
Mm-hmm.
before.
Because we've been in the trenches. So
Yeah.
again, you said something that I can definitely resonate with. But one thing that jumps out to me, and I think this is going to be similar with other Chelsea fans. This is a deep question, so I want you to truly answer it. When the ownership took over and after the first transfer window, is that where Chelsea broke your heart? And is that where the immediate separation to the Chelsea you know and the Chelsea that is of now, um, just completely the complete contrast and difference? Because
Mm.
remember, you went through a you were there. You were there when Roman Abramovich took over. So to
Yeah.
see this type of takeover, I guess that's where you don't resonate with the club anymore. can you kind of walk us
Hmm.
through how that makes you feel? And, just, yeah, just walk us through how that makes you feel.
I was feeling so indifferent. I don't know, for some reason in my mind, I never thought Roman was going to go, Like, I just never imagined that that could even happen. I don't know why I felt granted that he was going to be the owner forever. I don't know why I thought that way. I just felt there's no way this guy, like, he loves the football club. We're having
Mm.
success with him. Fans are so happy. We love the fact that we get high calibrated players. We also love the fact that you keep chopping and changing. We keep
Yeah,
winning. Like, it was
yeah.
exciting, right?
Mhm.
None of the chopping and changing was in vain. Like, it was done because we won
Was it?
excellence,
Yeah,
and we ended up
that
winning.
was the standard.
That was
And
the standard, right?
took that into my life as well. You gotta be ruthless at times.
Yeah, and I took all of that for granted. People
Hmm.
say Chelsea fans are spoiled. Yeah, we were spoiled. I'm not even going to lie. We were
Hmm.
definitely spoiled.
Hmm.
We could buy any player we wanted to buy. We could pay them anything we wanted to pay them. And, we brought in the best of the best managers whenever we could. And
Hmm.
we won stuff all throughout. So I still remember when the sanctions happened and then the Ukraine Russia war, I could sense where it was all going. I was
Hmm.
like, I think our owner's in trouble. I think the British government is going to try
Hmm.
and corner him and try and get him to sell.
Hmm.
And then when it all started to take place, sanction, club can't sell tickets. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can't
Hmm.
sell any merchandise. Like, it was, we can't earn any revenue. Like,
Hmm.
everything was blocked off.
Hmm.
It was an indifferent moment, Javon, man. Like, in one hand, I was like, oh my God, like, are we ever going to get a better owner? Like, now this guy's forced us. But on the other hand, I was like, we need him gone, though. Like, the football club needs to carry on. Like,
Yeah,
we
Chelsea
need
above
to,
all else.
yeah,
Yeah.
Chelsea above all else. Like, my club's suffering. My club cannot go on like this without any
Hmm.
revenue coming in. Like, how are we going to support anyone? Is there even
Hmm.
going to be a club? Is it going to be
Hmm.
all liquidated? Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So one hand, I was like, Roman, brother, just sell up. Like, we just need to move on. On the other hand, I'm like, I don't know. I don't
Hmm.
know if we're ever going to get an owner like Roman again. So at that point, Javon, that transition, I couldn't think of anything else. I wasn't like, oh my God, my heart is shattered or anything like that. It was more, I need my club back.
Hmm.
It was, I think, once the new owners came in
Hmm.
and the first transfer window happened and Thomas Tuchel got sacked and
Hmm.
Graham Potter came in and the abysmal season that took place
Mm.
and we
Bro.
finished 12th and the amount of games we lost,
Hmm.
all the chaos with the 40 plus players that Graham Potter had to look after. And then when Potter got sacked, we brought back in Lampard, who in the second season
Nope.
got sacked because of such poor management.
Management. Yep.
And then he came back in to even culminate the issues even further. And we ended up
Hmm.
finishing 12th. At that point, that's when I was like, oh my God,
You're better than me, Miz, because
something
you.
something sinister happened here. And
Hmm.
yeah, at that point I was broken because I never imagined my club to be 12th and go
It does.
through the season that we went through.
Hmm. I
And
want to tell you, Miz, you're much better man than me to wait until the end of the season. My breaking point was this specific incident. Take yourself back to when Graham Potter got hired, right?
mm,
Who was about to take over a Champions League game. This man said, I've never even been to a Champions League game. I've never coached a Champions League game. I never have even attended a Champions League. And I'm like, man, I'm like, what? At least act like you've been here before. Fake it until you make it. What are you talking about? I was furious. And then I gave up after that. But it's not about me, it's about Miz. All right. Let's take a step back here long before this ownership took over. Content creation. you came from an era where YouTube wasn't as prominent. There was no tweeting, there was no Facebooking, there was no Instagramming. I don't even think WhatsApp was a thing at that time. So how
Ah,
does this YouTube and the other side of the coin come into birth?
man, such a top question. It's good. Sometimes I like how this podcast allows you to sometimes sit down and just think back, because I don't think I do enough of that, sort of reevaluate where I came from once upon a time to where I am right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
always good to it's always good to see the path
Mm-hmm.
and look back. Some people always say, "I keep going forward." Yeah, of course you keep going forward, but sometimes maybe stop and look back where you came from, and that's when you start realizing,
Mm-hmm.
okay, do you know what? Like, thank God, like
Mm-hmm.
God's looked after me. I'm blessed, and I'm really really appreciative of that.
Most definitely.
And look, it all happened during the COVID period. Um,
Mm.
COVID took over. By the way, can you hear that background? People
Yeah,
singing?
but it's fine. It's fine. I actually gonna be really straightforward here. This live stream is actually accidental. It was supposed to be a pre-recording,
Yeah,
but we're already here,
I
so
can
don't
see. I
work
can
with
see a few people live. But yeah, I got my neighbors who are Friday night, ladies and gentlemen.
Mhm.
They're singing it up. They're getting drunk and whatnot.
Yeah, let
Big
them
up to
enjoy
them.
themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let them enjoy themselves. Um, it was during COVID. So prior to it was my first stint at social media
Mhm.
fully engrossed in it was Sari season. Sari,
Mm.
the one and only season. Sari, 2017-18,
Mhm.
I believe. Yeah.
Mhm. No,
And or
is it?
18-19.
I think it's 17-18. We won the league under Conte. The following
No,
season, we
no.
got
16-17 we won under Conte, no?
no. I think we were bad 16, or was it 15-16? We finished 10th. I think you got.
16-17 we won. 17-18 let's have a look. Let's have
Wait,
a
let's
look.
have a look. No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was 16, 15, 16. We finished 10th. Mourinho got sacked. Um, Antonio Conte came in 17-18. We won the league because that was when Pep Guardiola just came.
Yeah,
And then
you're right.
18,
17
19.
18, Conte got sacked. We won the FA Cup, though, I think that
Yeah, yeah,
season.
yeah. We still won a trophy, but he's got sacked because he was moaning about
So
signing.
it was 16 17. Yeah, so I was right.
Mm,
16 17 is when we won the
mhm,
Premier League. 17 18, we got the FA Cup under Antonio Conte, and then he got sacked.
mm.
And then 18 19 is when
Sorry,
Sari came on.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 18 19 is when I fully got into it. I had Twitter
Mm,
from the Conte Premier League winning
mm,
season, but I wasn't tweeting. I would just look at what people are writing. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
But it was the Sari season when I started tweeting.
mm.
Okay. And I started to voice my opinions and this, that, the other. And that's a separate story in itself. I was running amok on Twitter. I was
Oh
going
no, we
after.
want to hear about that.
Okay,
We
sure.
can't just skip over that. We want to hear that.
So Twitter, I just started Twitter, and I remember I got to know Matisse quite early.
Mm-hmm.
Both Matisse had like 300 followers. I had about maybe 200 followers,
Mm-hmm.
and both of us bumped into each other on Twitter. And I actually saw Matisse used to do these little 1 minute videos
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter doing match reviews or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or just talking about a topic about Chelsea. He'd come after work and he'd do a video, and I bumped into him, and he used to do a video in his room, sitting down with the camera, looking at him, and him
Mm-hmm.
looking down on the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then we became mates from then, and we started growing together on Twitter. And I was running amok. I wasn't very much a Sari fan to start off with,
Mm-hmm.
but I slowly fell in love, and I was very much on Twitter as someone who was pro Sari, and that was rattling a lot of match going fans.
Mm-hmm.
And then I created this so-called movement back then, which actually was a bit of a movement. The
Mm-hmm.
12th man movement. To all the OGs out there, if you're listening to this, you might know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
12th man movement, where I was like the head honcho of that 12th man movement. And
Mm-hmm.
um, 12th man was basically all the followers of Sari, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Back Sari, back the team, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I was creating havoc with journalists that would talk down on Sari, player interviews that would be against Sari. So I'd be doing videos and going after these journalists. And I remember some of those videos, they clocked like, you know, thousands and thousands of views.
A
And
man
one
said
I
it's a
think might even,
wartime.
yeah, one I think even this one where I went after Liam Toomey
Mm-hmm.
might have even hit 1 million views at that point.
Whoa.
And I went big time on Liam Toomey. I went after Nizar. I went after a few other journalists. And I also went after Eunice. I remember I went
Mm-hmm.
after Eunice as well, one of the videos. And that's how we became mates.
Mm-hmm.
I went after Eunice, and there was a lot of people that didn't appreciate me going after Eunice.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Alex Goldberg was like, this isn't it, Miz. This isn't it. And so on and so forth. And so, yeah, man. Sari season is when it all started from an online perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And then the consequent season when Frank came in,
Mm-hmm.
2019-20,
Yeah. When we got the transfer ban.
when we got the transfer ban.
Mm-hmm.
And I think later that season in December, when COVID started to kick in,
Mm-hmm.
and then around January, February, Premier League was suspended, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
for a few
Yeah.
months. And it was during that few months, I think it might have been March 2020,
Mm-hmm.
might have been around March 2020 when I was getting some traction on Twitter. And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy this communication with the fans and but I don't like this 250
Word limit.
characters limit. Like,
Yeah.
I can't
Beat
really
up the thumbs.
yeah, I can't really elaborate myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, let me just start YouTube. People, I've seen few people that had YouTube channel at that time. Eunice had YouTube channel, and a few other people had YouTube channel. And I thought, let me just start this. Like, we'll see where it goes. I'm not really interested about the money. It's more the fact that I want to be able to share my opinion and elaborate my thoughts on it. And a few of the followers that I had during that time, we started creating a nice little community on YouTube. Back then, when I'd go live stream, there'd be like 10 people watching me. Do you know what I mean? But
Right
that
now.
yeah, but that 10 was enough. Do you know what I mean? That was enough for me. That was nice because I could elaborate on my thoughts, and I would invite some of them to come in, and would have a lot of nice panel-based debates at that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it all started, Javon. Like
Mm-hmm.
March 2020-ish,
Mm-hmm.
very slow, not really thinking about monetization or anything like that. Just purely,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to voice my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the start. That was the start.
Mm-hmm. Look at you now, up to 35K in subs. On your road, I'm pretty sure you're on the road to 50K.
Hope so, man.
You're one of the biggest, most influential, impactful voice in the Chelsea space. Um, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. My next question to you is we're gonna get into some of the more difficult ones. You've been seen recently as one of the floggers of Chelsea, in the sense that people are labeling you extremely negative. People are saying you're attacking some of the players. Madueke. People are saying the fans are saying you're overly negative. Even
Mhm.
when the ownership does some positive. Give me your honest thoughts on this new ownership. Without, I guess what I'm asking for is a bit of balance, but in true honesty.
Yeah, look, I don't know how I exactly like. There are certain things that they're doing that makes me feel okay. That's probably going into the right direction.
Mm,
We probably needed to. sort out our wage structure. We were paying a lot of wages, which was not sustainable. Roman during that time looked after us. And I think some of those things are now starting to catch up on us through financial fair play and whatnot. Um, so we probably needed to do that. There was a whole heap of players that didn't want to stick around that needed to leave, which they've gone. But there's a lot of things that I don't like about the ownership as well. Lots of things. The over influxing of just getting so many youth type of players, like youngish players, um, stripping away all of our, maturity and players that can guide you through hard times. Um, and now to the point where it's a bit of a stock market. I keep saying it in all my videos that for the past two summer windows, like we've been buying and selling heavily. So it's like a stock market situation. That player's going at a very good rate. Let's get him. His price is really good right now. Let's sell him. Do you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. So, and obviously the lack of consistency on field, the chopping and changing at a different level. Like Roman chopped and changed managers, but now under this new ownership, like we've chopped and changed ridiculously over the 2.5 seasons. Well, if you want to call it that, half for this particular season. So look, man, yeah, there are certain things that are good. Some players have done well in terms of Cole Palmer. He's really fantastic breakthrough season. Madueke, I'm not gonna look. Madueke, the thing that I'm gonna say about Madueke is I need to see still consistency. I think the
Oh, for
brother.
sure, for
I
sure, for
think I
sure.
think he's I think he's I'm hoping he is changing. I feel like there is some level of maturity that's kicking in over the last few weeks that I've noticed him. I hope it does carry on. That hat trick was fantastic a few weeks back, but following that hat trick against Crystal Palace, not the greatest performance again. I want to see
Who
this.
did have a good
Yeah,
performance
no one,
against
no
Crystal?
one, no one. To be honest, first half was actually pretty good. He missed a few good chances in the first half. Second half, everyone was poor. But with Madueke, I think there is a player there. There's no doubt. I've always said there's a player there, but I need this player to be far more consistent than what he is doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because for people that have heard this podcast so far, from where I used to see Chelsea,
Oh, I get it. I
like
definitely get it now.
to me, then now come in this era and go, yeah, that's okay. Like, my players back then, they were ruthless, they were brutal, they were killers.
Jamaicans would have said them man they think different, meaning your
Ex-
thing is different. We understand you're from a different time, so the man they think
exactly.
different.
Yeah. So for me, I know when I've seen something extra special, and Madueke for me is a good player.
Call a spade a spade. He's
Yeah,
not extra special right now.
he's not
Yeah,
extra
he's
special
not
right
extra
now.
special right now. I think my thing with him is he has the potential to be that.
Yeah, yeah, and when he does get or when he starts showing that he's reaching that extra special level, best believe I'll be one of the very first people to say, yeah,
Hmm.
the boy has arrived.
Hmm.
He's now in the right path.
Okay.
But
Okay. So
I'm not going to be sitting here and just going,
yeah, I
fly
see
the
what they're
Medway.
doing. I see what it is on Twitter and on social media. But I want to stick a pin there. I don't want to go into anything player specific because we can leave that for all you can eat Chelsea. We
Yes,
can leave
yes.
that for when we're having our discussions and whether it's playback or YouTube, whatever. It's more about Miz. So let's take it back to Miz. Australia, bro. Oh, I have multiple questions. One, how do you do these timings? And two, do you see yourself as the voice of Australia for Chelsea? Because
um, do you know what? I have a lot of really good mates at work, and they've recently actually said this to me that Ms. I don't think there is a bigger Chelsea fan channel besides yours in Australia? And I just sort of thought about it. There probably isn't, you know. I don't think anyone that covers Chelsea has a bigger channel than mine in Sydney, Australia. So from that perspective, you'd have to say, yeah, probably I am the biggest. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan. You know, I'm
Bro,
pretty
stop being humble. This is where
I'm
you're
pretty
gonna call
sure
a spade a spade.
I'm pretty sure there's just as big and if not bigger Chelsea fans here in Sydney, Australia, but or even just Australia in an entirety.
Hmm.
But in terms of YouTube channel, yeah, I think I'm probably the biggest one in Australia, which is crazy to think about. Like you know, to say that you're
Hmm.
the biggest Chelsea fan channel in Australia is
Bro,
is pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
yeah, man. Sometimes you just gotta call a spade a spade. Like right, bro's too humble. Man, say it with some chest.
I just never
um,
thought about it that way until my colleagues actually started saying that. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, it is what it is, man, and I'm sure you're proud of your journey. Um,
Mm.
do you, with that being said, and I'll ask you about the time thing after ours, but something more, a question more important to me. Do you think given that your voice and your opinion carries weight, do you
Mm.
think you have a due diligence? Do you, obviously you do your due diligence before you say anything, but
Mm.
my question is, do you think you have what's the word is escaping me right now? Do you think you have a responsibility?
Responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah, to the Chelsea fans to not necessarily say things as ruthless, or do you think you have to say things as ruthless so things can change? Because I don't care what anyone says, someone at the boardroom level will see fan backlash, and
Yeah.
that they can't just do whatever they want.
Look, I'm massive on this, man. I always believe that when you start having a certain level of following,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta be you gotta be conscious of what you say and how you say. However, when I feel very strongly about a certain thing, I don't want to hide away from that. Like, I want to be very truthful. I want to be honest, and I want to be transparent about that. And I think I have been.
Mm-hmm.
But what I always make sure is, just because I have a decent enough following on
Mm-hmm.
social media and on YouTube, I don't I don't create drama. Like, I don't go out there and start instigating unnecessary, you know,
Mm-hmm.
clickbaity topics. I could do that if I really wanted to. I could, like, straight after this podcast, I could just go and start a really, really bad video on Medwake. Like, I could do
God
that.
help us all.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that video is probably going to bang
Yeah, because
because,
a lot of people kind of share the same sentiment, and he's become the
or
scapegoat.
or they don't,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll come to bash me. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They'll see what's Miz started. He started to, demean Madueke, a particular player that's doing well. Let's see what he has to say about all of this, and there'll be a lot of people that will come to absolutely destroy me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to do that, because for me that is stupidity. Like, there
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of content creators out there. They know what they're doing. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
know how to trigger the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
And that's their remit, because they've figured out what YouTube is all about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why someone like me, who doesn't grow as furiously as some other channels, I have a very decent amount of growth, and I'm absolutely happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll notice that there are certain fan channels
Skyrocket.
that that have very, very
Mm-hmm.
left field takes that will be like excuse me, takes that will shock you.
Mm-hmm.
Their channels are explode like it's absolutely exploding, because it drives sensationalism.
Mm-hmm.
It drives, some level of trigger motion on the fans.
Mhm.
I could never do that. I could never
Bro,
do that.
I always say for my channel, get me to 1K and I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. It's all for love, the love of football. Okay,
Nice.
that's understandable. How do you handle the times? Because I
Mm.
think everyone wants to know that. Wherever this video goes, that's one of the questions. Sydney,
Yeah.
Australia, these timings are crazy. You literally start a new day before half of the world. How do you manage
Yeah.
these times and these wake ups?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. It's tough. It starts catching up on you. It's even more tough. Like, I probably wouldn't worry so much if I was
Mm-hmm,
in my early 20s and single,
mm-hmm,
and I don't have to think about family. I don't have to think about two little kids. I don't have to think about helping my wife. I don't have to think about my mum and dad. I don't have to think about my younger brother.
mm-hmm,
It's difficult when
mm-hmm,
you have all of that going,
mm-hmm,
plus you're a fan, plus you've created a good community
mm-hmm,
that, I kid you not, Javon, you know what wakes me up now? And this is not even sugarcoating it, and this is not even being cheeky about it.
mm-hmm,
You know what really gets me going now? How I handle the time difference now?
mm-hmm,
As painful as it is at times,
mm-hmm,
sometimes I'm sleepy. Sometimes the next day my day is ruined because I'm so hungover, to be honest,
mm-hmm,
for not having sleep, not because I'm drunk or anything like that.
mm-hmm,
I've got a headache, and then sometimes I have to work the next day.
mm-hmm,
A lot of the days, the next morning,
mm-hmm,
lack of sleep, I have to still make sure I help out everywhere in the house because it's going to be too much for my wife to take care of everything.
mm-hmm,
Got to be there for my kids to take them out and have fun with them as well. They don't deserve that. Oh,
mm-hmm,
dad was up all night watching Chelsea, so now Sunday it's a write off. So that, no problem. Let dad sleep. No, I don't want to have that excuse either.
mm-hmm,
But you know what gets me going, man?
mm-hmm,
It's the community that I've built here. That's what gets me going. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, Javon. Like, literally on a regular basis, I get so many comments on my videos on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever, right? I'm
I'm
not even
sorry,
making
man.
this
That's
up.
just I know. That's
But
why I had to.
the comments that I see, they'd be like, Miz, I just finished work and I'm tuning on to your video whilst I'm commuting from work to home.
Mm-hmm,
Or Miz just woke up having breakfast and I'm just catching up on the latest Chelsea news through you. Or I'm just having dinner. Me and my dad are sitting down and we're watching you with the latest Chelsea news.
mm-hmm,
And I'm like, people actually sitting there where I've become part of their life, like part of their entertainment.
mm-hmm,
And that's what drives me to go, I can't sleep. Miz, you cannot sleep no more.
mm-hmm.
Get your
You
get
have a
your body up.
You have a
Get
responsibility.
yo, I got a responsibility because there's people that are sitting somewhere around the world, whether they're outside, whether they're at home,
Mm-hmm,
they're expecting to enjoy a good show with Miz. And
mm-hmm,
that's why I get up. That's where all the pain goes away. And that's what drives me now. Like, I literally, when I don't do a video, Javon, I'm not even making this up. I'll get DMs on my Twitter or on my Instagram saying, "Is everything all right, brother? Like, yeah, all good with the family? Everything all right? Just haven't seen a video of you today."
mm-hmm.
Because I've become a part of their life. I've become a routine for them.
You have, you have.
So when something is out of routine,
Mm-hmm,
you start getting worried. Like,
mm-hmm,
are they all right? Like, this was, it's 8 p.m. I'm meant to be watching Miz now. The
mm-hmm,
brother didn't produce no video today.
mm-hmm,
So it's not just a YouTube channel anymore, Javon, man. It's not about how do I handle time. It's about responsibility of making sure that I'm there for the community and we keep growing the community. And
mm-hmm,
it's a good it's a good relaxation for me as well. Like, to be able to sit down with thousands and hundreds,
Mm.
and to watch a game or do a video and see all of these views and comments, it's it it allows me to just get away from my real life at times and then just
Mm.
enjoy what I want to, what I enjoy the most in
I
my life.
suppose you can
So
use this as a venting space as well,
yeah,
and people will
yeah,
understand. Okay.
yeah.
Have you started introducing your kids to Chelsea yet? Do you like say, "Hey, little man, this is one club"? Because I only ask this because my father, he's a huge Arsenal fan, and he wanted me to be an Arsenal fan. And me
Fair.
and my brother, because I have an older brother, my brother went the United route, and obviously I went the Chelsea route. We were like, no, 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 let us think for ourselves. And I always said, when I have kids, it's Chelsea or the highway. I do not care. how is it in terms of introducing your kids to the sport?
My daughter's too young still. She's what, 18 months, so she's got no idea.
Oh yeah.
My son, he loves playing football,
Mm,
so he trains, and I help him through training as well.
mm,
But my son, he's more of a, he likes to play. He doesn't really
mm.
like to
He hasn't built
watch
that
so much.
connection yet. He'll
So
come. He'll
it'll
come.
come. He has been asking me. So my son's going to turn 7 next month.
Mhm,
Um, he has been asking me recent, like he's got a couple of Chelsea jerseys. Like he's got his name on the back of
mhm,
his Chelsea jersey. He's got one Tammy Abraham one a long time back.
mhm,
Um, but he doesn't really like he knows I go for Chelsea,
mhm,
but he doesn't really understand to the point that which team does he want to support, because he doesn't really watch. Like
mhm,
I'll watch, like he's not too interested to, he's more interested to play.
mhm,
But in recent times he's been asking me, Dad, let's watch a game together, because I think some of his mates at school,
mhm,
they started to talk about football as well.
mhm,
And he's just realized that he doesn't watch, so he wants to start watching now. Like
mhm,
literally before this podcast, he was saying, Dad, any games on this weekend? And I go, yeah, there is, but it's very late for you.
mhm.
How about we wake up in the morning and we can watch the
Rewatch it.
highlights package? We'll watch the
Mhm,
highlights package together. He goes,
mhm,
you make sure you do that. I go, yeah, we will. We will. We'll do that Sunday morning. I've got a
mhm,
pencil down. I go, Sunday morning, we'll wake up and
mhm,
we'll watch the highlights package of the Premier League
mhm,
matches that happened
mhm.
overnight. So,
Okay, you're
so
giving
he
them
hasn't.
the full thing, not just Chelsea. Okay.
Yeah, I want to show him everything,
Mhm,
and then he knows who I go for.
mhm,
But I'm not gonna drive him to be a Chelsea. But you be you.
mhm.
You
What
don't
if he
need to
chooses
be me.
Spurs?
Then we're gonna have a problem. Then we're gonna have a problem. But you know what? Like
Mhm,
I would love him to be a Chelsea fan, of course. Do you know what I mean?
mhm,
But
mhm,
I can't. No one forced me to be a Chelsea fan, Javon. Do you know what I
mhm.
mean? I fell into
So,
Chelsea.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand.
I don't want to be that father that goes, "You're a Chelsea boy. That's it.
Mhm,
It's Chelsea or nothing." You find out who you want to be, what resonates with you.
mhm.
And if that's Chelsea, fantastic. If that's not, well, we're gonna have problems. But it is what it is.
It is what- Yeah. So to end off, two last questions here. Two
By the
very
way, my
prestigious
younger
questions.
brother's a Arsenal fan, so there's already that
And
division anyway.
my father and I get into it from time to time, but that's a whole other thing. um, um, two last questions here. Firstly,
Hmm.
is there any player that you can resonate with a squad right now that kind of reflects how you feel, your personality, or just a genuine liking to in the current squad? And it's okay to say no, because I know it's hard to kind of coming from giving your story, coming from where you're coming
Yeah.
from. But if you
Honestly,
had to choose one,
honestly, no one.
that's fine.
Like, uh, I don't really resonate with any single one. I used to resonate with, not because I felt that player represents me, or I felt, oh, his character is more like mine. No, not like that. I don't know if people. This might have been before I knew you,
Mhm,
Javon. I was under the new ownership.
mhm,
Well, this player was just before the new ownership, but also did feature in the new ownership. Hakim Ziyech is one where
Mm-hmm.
I felt a different connection with Hakim Ziyech. I think it was because when Ziyech was bought from Ajax, there was a video from his mum to him, wishing
Mm-hmm.
him the best of luck at Chelsea, and Ziyech was just sitting there and was just crying, watching his mum's video, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt so soft inside. I was like, I hope this player does well, man. Like for me, the mum's tears that breaks me. That when I see any mum crying, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff absolutely breaks me. Yeah, Thiago Silva definitely,
Mm-hmm.
but he's no longer, I suppose. But yeah, he's a good shout.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in this current squad, not that I resonated, but I felt
Who do you like
some
at this
level
point?
of
Yeah.
some level of connection with Enzo Fernandez.
Mm-hmm.
I
I knew
felt
you'd
that
say that. I knew you'd say that.
yeah, there was a I felt there's a bit of a there was a mongrel, there was a hard worker, there was that you know there's that dog. Like I felt like that someone who wanted to show that let's stand for Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? Like fight for Chelsea and with involving the quality. But his recent shenanigans
Mm-hmm.
really put a bit of a damper on that.
Yeah.
Um,
I think for someone like you, it's because of their age, because they
mm,
don't carry the same level of maturity at this age as the older generation did.
exactly.
Because remember, the older generation packaged this as you work corporate, so you'd understand.
Yeah.
They would package it at high level corporate. When you play in the Premier League of football,
Mm,
no, it's a bit more relaxed and has a bit more swagger and a little bit more down tools to it. So I understand. On that point, my last question to you before we get out of here is
mm.
the same thing I asked Matisse. If you could sit down with the board, what's one question you would ask, and what's one rebuttal you would give to everything they've done so far?
Wow. Woo. What's one question that I'd ask and what's one rebuttal? Well, rebuttal I think might be easy, so I'll keep that for later. What's one question that I would ask? You know what I would ask? Why
Why?
Chelsea?
I knew it. I knew it was coming. You had Brighton right there. Why?
Yeah, why Chelsea? Why? You could have had, it seems like you could have had any other club. Why Chelsea? I get it. London, glitz, glamour. It's a it's a lucrative club. It's a fantastic opportunity to make a lot of money. I get that, but you could have done that with many other clubs. Why Chelsea? Because I wish you understood what Chelsea was all about first. I wish you knew what it was all about, and it was. I wish you didn't just come to Chelsea and treat it the way you've treated it. Like
Mhm.
you could have treated the way you've treated it with any other club in the Premier League or even outside of the Premier League, and maybe you would have got away with it. Maybe not any other club, but sort of from six downwards,
Mhm.
you could have picked any other club, and you could have done all of these nonsense. And I don't think any of their fan base would have really bat an eyelid because for them, the ambition is not to really
Mhm.
win,
Mhm.
right? It's about just let's try and survive. Whereas with Chelsea,
Can I
this is
bring
an
home trophies?
institution. Yeah, this is an institution where you need to win.
Mhm.
And you've God knows what you're doing. So why Chelsea would be my one question. Why
Mhm.
this? Why not any other club? Why not Brighton?
Mhm.
You've based your whole model on Brighton. It seems like, and you've been quoted to say that you like the Brighton model. Why not Brighton? You could have done all of this being at Brighton. So why not Brighton? Anyway, so that would have been my question. One rebuttal would be, yeah, stop the stock exchange. Like, stop this insane fascination over 16, 17, 18 year olds. Like, it's not healthy. Like, make Chelsea Football Club a serious club again.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a daycare, man.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my one rebuttal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand, and I guess is stop the stockpiling. The why in the sense of if you were going to do this at another club, it would be seen as a positive. I think if you
Yeah.
took a if you did it to a lesser club because you're still finding gems,
Yeah.
and the upturn in terms of profit would have been faster because the bigger clubs would have then seen that you found gems and then came in and bid for them. So
Mm.
I understand that, but I miss. I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you for hopping over on the Finals of the podcast. This is a safe
Thank you. Thank
space,
you. It's
you
been a
know.
fantastic time, bro. It's been a fantastic time.
No problem, no problem.
Appreciate that,
And
bro.
please remember to like, share, subscribe. I haven't said that once here. Still getting used to the whole YouTube thing. Please follow me at the other side of the coin.
Thank
When
you.
this
Thank you.
video gets posted, it would be in the description of the video. And
Thank you.
yeah, bless up. Peace, people.
Peace.
Blessings.
Thank you so much.